Annyeong, it's Mikey here. Today I'm going to you with another switch. I know it's 3 switches this week, but we're coming to you with another switch. And this time it's gonna be the Keybay Guns and Roses. Now I've done a video building with these switches, but I've never given you guys a switch review on them. So we're gonna have to go into them, see what they're like, because they're actually really cool. And in general, I've loved every single Keybay switch that I've received and I've bought. I've actually bought these ones, and we're gonna have to really see what it's like in all these different boards and how does it sound. So let's go into doing a deep dive of the sound test and the review. But please make sure to like and subscribe and come join the Discord, because I'd love to have you guys join the community. But let's get right into it. Now let's take a look at the switch itself and what we're getting. So this is the Keybay Guns and Roses, and this is a really interesting switch. So I love the Keybay series of switches. Like, they do their switches with KeyGeek, and it's an amazing switch. They do like a deep one, and there's a clacky, there's also a tactile, a clacky of course. And then this is a Guns N' Roses, where we're gonna have to see where does this land. Overall, the price of the Keybay switches are quite reasonable, and of course we're gonna do a sound test with many boards. Now, we're coming back from the sound test of the Keybay Guns and Roses. Now, what are my thoughts on it? It's a very good middle switch, meaning it's not going to be like your clacky switch. It's not going to be your thocky switch. It's actually in the middle. So some people out there might enjoy more of a middle area switch. Depending on the board you have, how foamed it is, it's going to be a little bit deeper. When you have a foamless board, it's going to sound a little bit clackier. But it's not to the point where it's super high-pitched clacky. It's not going to be super like low-pitched thocky. It's a good middle switch. And I actually really enjoy that because it's not really too heavy on either side. And it kind of gives me more of like that middle feel that I really kind of look for in certain switches. I've tried so many different ones, right? Like I've literally tried out so many different switches. I'm pretty sure I have hundreds of switches right now. And sometimes I just don't want to go too heavy on each side and I want like something in the middle. This is really perfect for that. We're going to have to really take it apart though and take a look and see what it's like. And of course, go through a little bit more in depth in terms of like the loudness and the colors. So let's go right into that.
So let's take a look and see the information again after all the sound tests. So where does this kind of feel for me? It's like a marbly, but also poppy, but not in the clacky of switches. It's quite nice, it's quite smooth, and impressive in terms of the build. So you can even hear when we're doing it like that, the switch itself isn't a super clacky type of sound. Now let's look at the travel distance of the switch itself. So we start at 18.1 and then it goes all the way down to 14.4, which gives us 3.7 millimeters in distance. But we're going to try that again just to make sure that we're getting the distance correctly. So it's 18.1, 14.4. So yeah, 3.7 is what we're measuring, but it could always be off by 0.1 millimeters. And time to look at the stem. So right away with the stem, it's actually very barely lubed for the stock. So I was kind of surprised with how little lube there is. Like you can see right there on the screen where it's a little bit on the sides, almost none on the rail, and not really on the front or the back. And you can see there is a bunch of lube where the sides are. So like where the stem actually is hitting the pins, that's where you'll see most of the lube. And that's kind of what I've noticed a lot with the KeyGeek switches, is the stems are always kind of like this, where it's going to be a little bit more towards lubing on those areas, especially on the pins. And in general, still very smooth without a lot of lubing. And as you'll see right here, the pole itself is quite shorter. So it's not a short pole, but it's not long like the other long poles. It's still on the shorter side. Now with the spring, we're measuring it at around the 21 millimeters. So really does match up with what the actual specs were. And yeah, we're looking at like a single stage long spring. My apologies guys, by the way, that my nose is really clogged. This cold is just not going away. Now, would I say that you have to lube these switches? I think it's a good idea, honestly. Even though the stock is quite smooth, I think these ones specifically, I would suggest that you do some light lubing on them. It will help a lot with in terms of like the feel and the sound of the switch itself. I'm personally on the side of yes, you should hand lube these switches. But overall, very well done in terms of the smoothness and how it feels with the sound and the, I guess in general, when you're considering the theme of the switch itself, because it's a Guns and Roses and really gives that kind of feel to it. Now we're going to be looking at the decibels. So how loud are these switches? They're not quiet switches, right? You'll be able to hear them. They're not really quiet at all. But in terms of the decibel readings, you're not getting like a really loud reading either, like the clacky switches out there. So a lot of clacky switches can get to like 72, 74. This one is like averaging around the 65 to 68 decibel point. So you're really not looking at something super loud, but it's still loud enough that like if you are in the office space, it could get annoying for some people because of how loud it can be. But in front of yourself, like, it's not going to be crazy loud. Now, in terms of the operation and like the feel of it, so when you're pressing it down, is there a operation feel like where, you know, the weight of it is going to be felt when you're pressing it? Not really. So it's interesting because the bottom row, like where the ZXC is, like you'll feel it a lot more. But the QWE, ASD areas, like it wasn't at all. It's pretty much like you felt nothing, and it just was a smooth top to bottom feel. But then on the ZXC, like I could actually feel it kind of heavy. Now, in terms of the stem wobble, top end, you're getting very, very little rattling, which is very good. Once you press it down and you actually start moving it around, you do have a little bit of movement. So mostly vertical, very little horizontal, but there is a little bit of that. And then when you're pressing down a key, you'll see some of that movement as well, but it's really not that much. I would say that you would get and feel that there's not much stem wobble on these specific switches. Now, in terms of the backlighting, so the backlighting of these switches is going to be very, very dark. Like, I'm letting you guys know now that if you do like your backlighting, these switches aren't really going to work for you. The way that these switches are, like, yes, you can see the lighting through right there where there's no keycaps on there, but once you add the keycaps on, you're getting like complete black right there. You're really getting like no lighting on these ones at all. And when you do look super close, it is affected by the switch too. So you're getting a bit of like that red lighting there as well. Now, in terms of what I'm thinking in terms of my measurements, so it is looking at the more poppy / like marbly range, right? We're looking at the 281 hertz compared to a lot of the clacky or the deep switches. You'll see that it's actually sitting in between the two, but it is leaning a little bit more towards getting close to clacky than it is getting close to the like thocky range. But overall, it's still in the middle. It's not either one, and I would say depending on your type of build, it's gonna sound maybe clackier. If you have a lot of foam, it's gonna be like more marbly, like poppy kind of, and then depending on like your plate and such, it's gonna be very, very different. Overall, I think that they did a great job in making the switch. It is a really good one where it kind of sits in that middle point where some people want more like a poppy, more marbly, and something that could possibly be like deeper sounding with like the kind of build you have with a PP plate or a PC plate and having a lot of foam inside, or like none, and then you get that more poppy, like higher pitch sound. I'll have the links in the description. You should go check out Keybay because they have so much amazing stuff.
I really hope this video helped you guys in terms of seeing, is this switch something you should grab? Honestly, I think it is. All of the Keybay switches are switches you should grab. It's the truth. They make really good stuff. It's been very, very good. I'll have the links in the description. You can go check it out and check out all the other Keybay switches that are out there. Hopefully waiting for, their new ones that are coming in. Of course, come join my Discord. You can ask questions. We can always, communicate there and always be a little bit closer because I'm going to be more active on Discord than I am, say, on comments or on Instagram. And of course, go check out the other videos I got, and I'll have to catch you guys next time.